Hey guys, welcome to Beer Tour in Seoul. This is Jonathan again. Today I brought another Korean beer called Hand and Malt's Imagine Pale Ale. Let's get into it. So I like the idea of the simple design. Of course, there's a drawing of hand because it's hand and malt. I assume that there's gonna be a little bit of a hint of orange since it's in the orange color. The aroma is sweet, and there's a little bit of hint of orange actually. And usually the pale ale has that bitterness to it, and I do have a hint, a little minor of that bitterness. But unlike the average pale ale, there's not that much of a bitterness from the top of the liquid. Let's pour it in. The color is emberish. Interesting. Cheers. So I personally, when I drank this right now, I don't know if you guys ever had the honey tea. After leaving the tea bag for a long time in the hot water, and you drink the first batch of the water, and you pour in the hot water again, and that there is a minor taste of that honey still left after drinking the first and the second time you taste it, there is like minor sweetness from the honey. I feel and sense and also smell the aroma, a hint of that little bit of honeyness. And the body is a bit heavier than that of a lager, the actual. And that usual bitterness that stays at the end taste, if you're having the average pale ale, there isn't. Actually, the end taste is so clean, and there is that malt, toasty malt flavor at the end taste, and a little bit of that citrusness. Well, to be honest, guys, this uses unusual ingredients. To you guys from the overseas, it's an exotic ingredient, but also an easy to find ingredient as well. It's honey. They've used the Korean honey with the honey malt to kind of deduct that bitterness of the pale ale, because the interesting characteristic about the pale ale is that distinctive flavor, that citrusness, that bitterness from the hop, and that clinging bitterness towards the end taste as well. But as time changes by, and a lot of people have tasted the craft beer, and there has been a majority of the group who looked at this bitterness a little bit differently. They put down on that bitterness and said they don't like that sense of clinging bitterness towards the end taste. So what they did, this brewer, the Hand and Malt's, the OB, I guess, they've listened to the consumers in the markets, and they found a way to deduct that bitterness and make into a beer, the craft beer, as a pale ale that could be enjoyed by everyone. So it's an entry level and another entry level of that entry level. So the idea is to use honey to bring the bitterness down. Very interesting, and I was kind of worried that they would kind of set on the wrong side of the roads, away from that heritage or the legacy of how the pale ale was generated or made. There's a story behind it, there's a history behind how the pale ale was brewed and was born to this world. And I was kind of worried that this idea of putting honey, minimizing that bitterness for those people, the young generations especially, making it a whole new type was going to be a wrong idea. But however, I really enjoy it. The sensation of letting the liquid flow through your throat is so smooth, and that sweetness, and I thought it's going to be very thick and sticky sweetness because they use the honey, but there isn't such characteristic at all. But it's minor sweet, but entirely sweet, that covers and has deducted that bitterness towards the end taste. And there is that rich, they've also used the honey malt, and the honey malt is emphasized towards the end taste with that honey, Korean honey. It almost feels like you're not drinking a beer at all. Sorry, that's exaggerated. But I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of hint of that tangerine taste as well. orange or orange peels specifically, and that honey orange peel and that honey malt flavor all together just balances so perfectly that I also enjoyed the average pale ales, the bitterness as well. That's what it gets addictive. For those of people who know what I'm talking about, those who enjoyed the pale ale, average pale ale level of taste, that is the distinctive characteristic that could be felt drinking the pale ale. But however, I'm not saying that bitterness has been all put out from this beer. There is still a bitterness, but quite enjoyable. It's not clinging on towards the end taste. Just in the middle of the process while you're drinking it, it's enjoyable. I really like it. I think it's that smooth, just letting that liquid inside your mouth for a second. That kind of feel that the liquid just kind of wraps around your palate and just smoothly flows in your mouth. It's just so enjoyable. So brewer themselves, they said the similar thing. They've gone through an adventure on research and find a way to fit in the young generation's taste. And they've said the large and majority of the group, surprisingly, the young generation, do not like that bitterness towards the end taste, especially that stays at the end taste for quite a long time. So after a long research, they found a way to bring down that bitterness at the same time, the sweetness, and it was the idea of using the honey. There is a previous video that I've introduced you guys, the Dongbokdo. It's one of the Korean craft beer that we are proud of representing to the people. They've used the lotus leaves powders in it, kind of emphasize that in our culture there is a palace that has been existed for decades, a long time ago, back in our history, where kings lived. There's beautiful ponds with a lot of lotus. And what the brewers for Gyeongbokgung was using is the leaf of that powder, leaf powder, the lotus leaf powder. By putting something exotic, something new ingredient in a beer, they've not only brought an interesting taste to the beer, but hide a solid identity of where that beer belongs. Korean beer, Korea. So what they've done is, in this beer as well, they used the Korean honey, which gives an identity where this beer belongs as well. That cultural, kind of introducing the cultural-wise aspects in our lives. It's very interesting beer and enjoyable. A lot of times the foreigners will look down upon our beers, saying that it's too heavily carbonated. It's just an average lagers that we enjoy. But once you try this beer, I think that will be a nice breaker. I think this will be a good idea to approach the foreigners while having those craft beer sceneries so much bigger in the West right now compared to Korea. But if you're interested, try these. This will suit you. This will be interesting beer for a try as a Korean beer. Anyway, so out of 5 today, I would give a 4 to this beer because what I thought I was wrong. Well, what my thought was is that there is this distinctive, like I said, distinctive flavors of that pale ale, the average pale ale beer, the average pale ale beers. That bitterness is also distinctive characteristic that could be enjoyed while drinking that beer. But when I heard that they put a honey in it, I thought that would destroy everything and kind of give a wrong idea as a pale ale, but I was wrong. That from the moment sipping in the liquid towards the end taste is so smooth, and that flavor, that full rich flavor that's bursting in my mouth is such an enjoyable chew. And at the end taste, there's no clinging of a bitterness, but there's a minor hint of bitterness, but sweetness, and that sweetness from the malt as well, which is from the beginning towards the end, sweetness all along, not too much sweetness. There's minimal, minor sweetness that is not too much to the palate, just enough that gives you a sense of an idea that this beer is sweet. And altogether, the ingredient that they use here, this beer is such an enjoyable taste of the level. And like I said, if there's an entry level, it's another entry level to that entry level for the beginners who want to try the ale. So 4 out of 5, guys. This is another beer that I gave a most high scores out of all my videos. This is very interesting beer. Please go and try it and then taste it for yourself. I also love that the tangerine flavors as well. So guys, this was hand malt Imagine Pale Ale, Korean craft beer. And thank you guys again for watching my video. I will come back with a lot more interesting beer to go, and there's tons and tons left to go in Korea. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video for Jonathan. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day or have a great sleep. Thank you. Bye bye.